Now, some of you may know, and clearly I'm noticing on Twitch, are not familiar with Patch Watch, but community managers will do some things where they post essentially what's going on with the patch. And usually it's all right, you look at the roadmap and there's cards, like these are the major features. But then Patch Watch goes a little deeper and shares some of the kind of improvements that may be coming to uh to the next patch essentially. So that's what Patch Watch is. So let's go ahead and check that out. And I saw on Twitter at least that there was some controversy around this particular post. So Alpha 318 Patch Watch, balancing keys. As with previous patch watches, we're spotlighting a selection of upcoming features and improvements that don't appear on the public roadmap. So there you go, just like I said. Additional key bindings. My voice just cracked. We're currently working on significant changes to the aiming system, which will not debut in 3.18, but in a later patch. However, several related keybinds will be available in the upcoming release. New gimbal swap commands. This will allow you to set a gimbal mode of your choice directly. G key short press will only swap between fixed and auto gimbal modes. G key long press will activate manual gimbal mode. Oh, that's kind of cool. Additionally, there are now key bindings directly select fixed, auto, and manual gimbal modes. Okay. Toggle pip type. We'll give you an option to toggle between lead and lag pip, giving you more flexibility to adjust your aiming. That already exists. This is the change. In addition to toggle the binding, you can now directly set lead or lag mode. So these two are, this is the change. This is, I don't play the game and I never knew. ESP, 2 new hold keybinds for pilot and turret gunner will be added to allow you to momentarily enable ESP by holding down the button. This is useful for certain joysticks that feature dual stage triggers, allowing the first stage to enable ESP and the second stage to fire weapons. Yeah, I think this has something to do with like ESP being problematic in flight, maybe. This is definitely feedback from like the higher end community. So of flying. I'm not sure why I would want this, but I'm sure people in the comments will let me know. Separate keybinds for deploying and retracting landing gear. That's kind of cool. Right now, there's only a toggle, but to have both is pretty sick. Stopwatch. We're adding a stopwatch to the flight HUD as a tool for the racing community. 2 keybinds are available, unbound by default. Short press to start and pause the watch, long press to reset the watch. Stopwatch will only be visible on the flight HUD due to some hooking problems, but will not be visible on ground vehicles for now. At a later date, we will move the stopwatch functionality to the visor. Will also work outside chips. We may extend the stopwatch based on community feedback at a later point as well. That one's interesting because there's time trial missions. So what's the stopwatch about? Balance changes. This is the one that I saw on Twitter. A lot of people were kind of bummed out about. Ballistic shield penetration. Ballistic shield penetration will be largely increased. With this change, even strong shields will only scrub off a few % of incoming ballistic damage, where previously, I don't know what the percentage was, but there was quite a bit of ballistic damage taken down. I don't think it was like above 50%, if I'm correct, or maybe it was around 50%. I don't know, but now it's nearly none. So ballistic weapons are going to be very powerful. Related but not quite ready for Alpha 3.18, we're working on weapon diversification, which will strongly influence weapon performance parameters and ammo counts. This is planned for a later patch next year. Diversification. Does that mean that they want us to run some ballistic, some laser? They want us to diversify more, it sounds like. But if we don't, then ammo counts will be lower. And performance parameters sounds like capacitors. So that's interesting. That's an interesting one. It's always something I've wanted to see. The thing that I just always liked about Star Citizen, or would have liked to see, I should say, is it always made sense to me to take down shields and then start using ballistics. But yeah, I don't know. This one is, I see a lot of people upset about it. What I'll say is this. I've been upset about a lot of things for a long time, and more and more and more, I just accept the fact that they have no game, no nothing worth playing. It's very difficult to jump in and play this video game and start in a starting point and progress to an end point. It's very difficult to find that without kind of pretending. And I'm sure I'll do like a 0 to hero in 318. That pretending can be fun. But people really got upset about this because they know what's going to happen. It's going to ruin the game for them. It's going to ruin the game because it is completely unbalanced without armor existing, right? Like these ballistic things are supposed to go right through shields and then come into contact with armor, and then the armor was supposed to do it. Where's the armor gameplay? It doesn't exist, right? So that's kind of the thing that people are struggling with, is realizing that they don't care about the state of the current game. I've tried to get them to care about the state of the current game and not make decisions like this and keep it status quo if the change is going to affect the game negatively, and move forward on things like inventory if they're not quite where they need to be. In general, they don't seem to want to prioritize that stuff. So I've just come to accept that, like, and I'm still going to fight this fight, but what I'm not going to freak out over ballistic changes. I now know that I'm going to jump in game, and if I come across somebody in a prospector, I'm going to be instantly dead in my prospector. I will have 2 seconds to live, and I'm dead, right? And that's just going to be what it is. Health component and distortion pass. And you know what that'll do is I'll probably just not play, and that'll just be it. Health component and distortion pass. The health of items will be increased to have less chance of being immediately destroyed by a single missile hit. Okay. Distortion numbers are also changing. Coolers will not be affected by distortion to avoid deadlocking. Power plants will not scale down their power output with increased distortion damage, but instead binarily shut off once distortion damage is too high. Power plants will then take 5 minutes to recover, while powered down items will not receive any more distortion damage. That's a good change. Obviously, there's not final tuning values for distortion. Consider them temporary measure until we approach related gameplay topics like slowing ships down. Yeah, this is the patch watch. That's a really interesting one. I think it's a good thing. I mean, Pirates kind of lost distortion in 317, I believe, or 316, and it's now coming back in a better form than it was before. Shutting off the power plant for 5 minutes gives the opportunity for boarding without ever having to do the whole soft death thing and risk exploding the ship. So it's really good. Except you'll probably see an issue with this at some point soon. Nobody's going to use distortion. It is a good change, but it will make no sense with the current state. Mining bug fixes. Mineable gems will be stackable in inventories in Alpha 318. Gray Cat rock mining, anybody. I am very excited for that. The team also added minor improvements to the mining gadget UI for better readability. That was it for this patch watch. Keep an eye out soon. Hell yeah, I am going to do a lot of group rock mining now, because now we can just pull gems from each other and it will be effective. The whole setup that our mining org put together now makes sense again. Very exciting. Very exciting about that. So yeah, just general feelings about patch watch. Ballistic changes, I think, are going to affect the game incredibly negatively. Um, the distortion change, I don't think is going to be used yet, but is a good change. So just getting feedback on that before it's an actual effective measure for piracy or for defense is going to be really cool. And then, I mean, think about it from a defense standpoint. Shutting somebody down and your deuces, right? So as a cargo hauler, you might just run all distortion and not really concern yourself with killing anybody, but just defensively shutting them off would be really good. And then the mining changes, I could not be happier. That is a joyous, momentous change. Although, weren't we getting the move all button anyway? So I guess it might cause less issues with that. So that'll be really good. And yeah, I guess thanks for watching Patch Watch, guys. As always, if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below. And I do these live on Twitch. So if you guys ever want to discuss things around these sort of topics, come to the Twitch channel, come to the Discord, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, discord.gg/SaltEMike. And say hello, YouTube, Twitch chat. There's lots of fun people here. There's also some miserable people here like me.